Hello, everyone. I'm Santi. I'm a game designer in the game industry, and today we're going to talk about mission design. Years ago, I used to be a mission designer in Ubisoft, and I specifically worked in Far Cry 6. In a previous video, we talked about open worlds and how they're made, and how are like there's a general technique on how to make them. Today, we're going to see what are the thought processes that we use when creating missions for open world setups, because they're kind of different than your traditional level or mission structure. So how about we start sharing some screens and go into Far Cry 6. So this mission is called Lions Den, was like my baby while I was at Ubisoft Toronto. And we're gonna start with the setup that is like what is called a mission giver. So missions are defined in beats, right? Beat 1 or objective 1, objective 2, objective 3, and the mission starts with a quest giver. The reason why the quest giver in this case is just a plague is because of the cinematic. It's because of the cinematic there. So let's see how it goes. So you'll see when I interact with this will be my quest giver. So the guy Juan, which is the character at this point. By the way, before anything, spoilers of Far Cry 6. This is like one of the final missions of the game. If you want to finish the game and come back, or if you want to just watch it, you don't care much about the story, you're welcome. But yes, a lot of spoilers ahead. So we're going to interact with it, and this is going to be our quest giver. So in the engine, we define who the quest giver is, and in this case is this object. And the reason is because in the cinematic, you guys will see that Juan comes off screen. There. You see, so because Juan comes off screen, we couldn't have just like a quest giver being a person. So that's why we made it that black. So I'm going to skip the cinematic here to continue and just explain how the mission is made. So this is going to put us on a beach. Originally, this mission was a full archipelago of islands. And the objective of the player was to stealth with a boat. So having water stealth and boat stealth was incredibly difficult for the engine. So we decided to create a cinematic instead and just place the player in the island in the mission zone. So that's why, right? So if we go to the map here, we have our island setup. So originally, the whole island was going to be surrounded by archipelagos like this. Like a huge archipelago of little islands that would like surround the main island, right? Your objective. And the player will have to go around avoiding other boats, avoiding being seen, so that like they can infiltrate the island. That was the original intention. But as the engine didn't allow us to do it, as we wanted. So that's why that cinematic exists. So let's go back. And now the goal of the mission was to give the player as much freedom as possible in this island, which means that they can tackle the island in any way and shape or form. There's as little guidance as possible. For that, we delimit this area here that was like military camp that is in charge of security of Anton Castillo, who lives there. So the objective is to find a key and infiltrate the compound delimited by like the red line there, right? So the way we did it is that we set up keys in these main locations, creating kind of a barrier for the player. So as the player approaches this way, the chances of them finding on their own a key would be like quite significant. But as you'll see, that was not the only thing we did. So let's begin the mission, and let's explore what was like the main intention. So originally, the player is left there with like an objective, and then a guide, so like a light source here that was specifically made to guide kind of like the player's eye there. So let's keep going, and if the player follows here, there is a path. This path is what we call the ideal progression of the mission, the golden path, we tend to call them. So this is kind of designed first, especially in bigger missions. So in bigger missions, we tend to have like a golden path that is like the best art, the best progression, the best kind of pacing, and it's tend to be for like first time experience, right? So this cave was specifically made to give the player a view of the main city here. And in this and then as we continue, to give a view of the main island, the whole compound, right? So as we talked before, this is like a line, an imaginary line that the player cannot, miss. And then we give specific shapes, like for example this shape. So there's a lot of natural shapes in Far Cry, so when there's an unnatural shape there, it draws the eye very well, right? So that's why as this zip line tend to work really well in our playtesting, and this plank, because as we talked before, the hardest thing for a level designer to do is to make a player look up like that. So this is the intentions there, right? But we wanted to give, even though you're following the main path, we wanted to give the freedom to the player no matter what. So there is a main path that divides in two. So one guides to the zip line that we talked about, guiding the player this way to that part of the compound, while the other one will guide the player opposite way into this kind of like bridge into the other side of the compound. So even though it's the main path, we wanted to have like this freedom and exploration. Now, because this is kind of a forced stealth mission and they tend to be quite frustrating, we modify the AI to believe that you were in disguise. So even though they see you, they are quite lenient, especially if you holster your weapon. They tend to be quite lenient. You see? Now, here we can keep exploring, guiding the player, and finding the key cards, right? So let's find all 3 key cards to see what is like the options the player has here. So we draw this line. We have to be careful. Even though we are in disguise, they can still catch us, right? So let's find the first key card. So if the player explores here, they will find like that as you approach this house, the UI will guide you to like the key cards, but you have to get relatively close to them, which means that you still have to explore. But we don't want the player to get lost constantly, right? So here is key card 1, and there's a guy sleeping here. We wanted to show that the barracks were inhabited, right? The whole mission was like spread out with notes that help the player, like guide the player. So we found the key card and we know our direction. But let's say we didn't find this key card and we kept walking through this this path. If we keep going this way, you will find there's another area, like a satellite dish area. That guard is perfectly scripted to always come out at that specific point, because we want the player to have like the idea that there is enemies close by, but also to invite them to come in and grab this key and to get out. So as you can see, the windows are open specifically to give the player a way out, and then to guide them, you'll see that the guard stands there to guide the player to a zip line. So everything is has as much purpose as possible. But the problem is that because of the systemic nature of Far Cry, the game, we can only suggest the AI to do certain things. We cannot we cannot tell the AI, go here no matter what. We suggest the AI, we give the AI suggestions. It's like, hey, you should probably go this way. As you'll notice, the guard will go stand there, because when you pick up the card, I have to give the order again so I can kill. Now, there's another secret system in this mission, that when you kill an enemy, a guard will spawn to inspect the area. It doesn't sound fully as fair as it could be, but it was the only way that, with the amount of resources we had, to create the illusion that there is, like, the player has to be stealthy, and when they kill, there's going to be consequences. So we have to hide the body now without being seen. So let's try to throw the body this way. So as you can see, this place now has a new guard. So let's get out of here. So you can use the zip line and continue. This is just one of the many ways you can finish this mission. But let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning of the mission and see another completely different way. So as we say, we want to respect the player's agency. So we're back at the beginning, right? But you can see this area, but a lot of Far Cry players and a lot of players tend to break missions and to try to not follow orders, and we love that. I love that as a mission designer. It's like, hey, that's your path forward, but what if you go this way? Which I personally might be faster. So if speedrunners are watching, be my guest. So we can go this way, and you can start swimming. No one is stopping you. There is no system telling you, hey, don't swim. The only rule is that you have to stay at a certain distance of the island, because it's a big mission. I think out of the Primo mission, like the Platinum missions in Far Cry, there were only 4. I think this might be one of the biggest ones. So if you continue this way, we're not stopping you. We like all this path was created for the player to continue exploring. And I shout out to the QA team at Ubisoft Toronto, because they love breaking this mission. They loved it, and I actually encouraged it, because we would be finding new paths, right? So if we continue here, you can climb this way and continue on the path that we saw before. But let's keep going this way. So we find the same area that we ziplined before. But if you keep walking here, you will find that your eye is drawn to that tunnel. With the help of the UI, your eye is drawn there. So let's see what happens if we go there. So let's swim this way. And this is all made to encourage the player to find several ways to beat the mission. Now, if we continue this way, you will find that you get to this kind of little mountain, and you can continue down you can continue following the wall. And if you continue following the wall, you will find probably the key that we found before. But again, player agency and respecting player choice. The player can decide to go left as well. If we continue left, just following here, you will find, whoa, your UI will let you know, hey, wait a second, there's something here. And you will find a dead guard with a key card. This is also a clue that was given to a lot of players through notes around that this is a guard that went missing. So we can pick the key card here and continue. But again, We don't have to use the doors that, like, there are several doors. So let's see the main doors in this the main doors can be found here, here, and here. Again, respecting choice. There is another door here, and there is another door here. So there's doors surrounding the whole area, but you might wonder, like, what happened on the other side? Well, on the other side, there is another door, but that door is special because we want to reward exploration no matter what. So if we keep moving forward, you will find here another door. And this one is the main gate. And you can come here and unlock the door here or in any of the doors that we found. Boom. We open the door. Now, what happens if you, by any chance, didn't find that key and you keep walking? So let's say we didn't find that key, let's imagine, and you keep going this way. There's a full path that keeps guiding us. We keep exploring and we keep going around the wall. So again, we want to keep encouraging players to use like their imagination, to explore as much as they can. So as you can see, there's several ways of completing this mission. You don't need if you keep going, you can circle around the island, and the island sooner or later will guide you into this path. And if you follow this path, you find this entrance. Now if we follow this entrance, you will find a door that does not require a key. Let's see where we are right now. We are at the opposite side of the island. So if the player hogs the wall, and this was intentional, if the player hogs the wall, no matter what, they will find a way in. They just need to keep exploring sooner or later. 90% of chance, players will find a key. Players will find a key in one way, shape, or another. But there's one final way to do this mission. So let's go back to the beginning. I promise I'll be quick. This time I'll be as fast as possible. So let's keep going. And whoa, my controller went crazy a little bit there. So let's keep going here. I'm probably gonna accelerate this footage. All right, guys, so you guys remember, we're back here. We went down the zip line here. Now, while playing, the QA would love to go around, and just go around the wall and try to break the mission. So while walking, remember the tunnel behind us. So behind us, there is this tunnel, right? So if we keep moving forward this way, a lot of the QA found that in the setup of the wall, you can go to this corner here and jump and cross like the wall. So we wanted to acknowledge that. We wanted to acknowledge that the mission can be broken. So literally there is a rock and a thing like a piece of like weed that shows that you can just climb the wall here. And no one bats an eye. And no one bats an eye. So there's many ways to get in, and there's many advantages of going into this mission in several ways. So on the next episode, we're gonna see what's inside and the advantages of entering through different areas. This is hope you guys enjoy it. Um, Again, the mission was designed to be kind of a linear mission, but with the freedom of open world design. When you're designing a mission for an open world game, the number one principle that you need to understand is called the 360 principle, which means that missions need to be approachable from any angle. And this is something that we follow here. So there's always a way in, there's always a way, there's always a way to progress, no matter from which angle you take it. Yeah, we place a player in a specific area and we guide the mission as much as possible to give them a more bespoke experience. But we encourage people to break that path, to break the golden path and find their own ways in. And there's probably 100 more ways to get in that I do not know of, but I'll be looking for those Let's Plays in the future. I'm Santi. This is the Game Design Perspective. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a good one. Tell me what you think.